here, you sometimes wonder, what is it that you could accomplish if self-doubt didn't continually just derail you, get you off of your game, right? Like, what could what could be possible for you, my friend, if you were in that space? Well, you are in the exact right space, because today we are going to look at the 4 tricks to conquer self-doubt. Now, here is the deal. We're going to look at what really confident women are not telling you about self-betrayal, because that's the thing that is underneath the self-doubt. So when we want to be more confident, when we want to step into this place of power and really being able to be aligned so that our receipts, our curb appeal is the same as what's inside, this is the work that we get to do right here. But before I get ahead of myself, I want us to create some good karma, all right? So sprinkle this onto your timeline. There are other people that are in your world that are also dealing with self-doubt. And you get to stand for a transformed world. You get to be a light. You get to do that. And today, if you will just sprinkle this onto your timeline, then others will also have a roadmap of how they can have better self-confidence and how they can really stand in their power. But let me stop. I'm Heidi Day. I am your soul healer, your trauma conqueror and life strategist for badass women who simply just want to smile and mean it. And I know you want to smile and mean it. And I know that you're successful. Yet secretly, there is this thing happening with self-doubt. I get that. I absolutely get that. And today we're going to look at, where does that come from? How is that happening? And what is it that we need to do? The 4 tricks that we're going to be able to do and start doing today. These are going to be action items, friend. This is not going to be just something that we're talking about, but I'm literally giving you action items so that you can step into this work today. Are you excited? All right, great. Let us get into the nitty gritty. So number 1, the first trick is that betrayal starts with small secrets, not big lies. Not big lies, sis. It's not in the big lies where betrayal starts. Because underneath all of our self-doubt, there is a conversation of betrayal. And the biggest lies that we tell are the lies that we tell to ourselves. So true. The biggest lies that we tell are the ones that we tell to ourselves. This month is Women's History Month. So happy Women's History. Happy history to you. And here is one of the things that came up for me as I was preparing for today's training, is that in order to suppress our power, in order to suppress our voice, there have been so many lies that collectively we have been told as women. And we were fed these lies, and so many of us ate them as if they were life. So in the work of Well Healed, we call these false truths. False truths, things that we believe to be true that simply are not true. They can be about who we are. They can be about how life works, how money works, about time. And if you think about it, these secrets, these lies are something that become these secrets in our lives. They're these little tiny things that show up for us in our own beliefs. So you have the secrets, you have the lies that are there, and then you have the secrets. And those secrets are the things that end up being kind of installed into who we are, right? So as we look at our lies and our secrets that are most impactful are those that happen from 0 to 8. From 0 to 8. So when we think about experiences that happen, when we think about things that we've gone through, so in this work, we talk about trauma, and we talk about the fact that everyone has something to heal, and everything that we want is on the other side of our healing. This healing, sis, comes when we recognize from 0 to 8, what were our experiences that create shame, that create a question of self-doubt and self-worth? What were those things? So as you stop for a moment, just take an inventory. When was the first time that you began to doubt yourself? If you can remember back to when you were a young girl and you thought all things were possible and you were creative and you were expressive and you were living out loud, who hushed you? Who told you that you were too much, that you were too loud, that you perhaps were not enough? Where did that happen for you? And in particular, I ask that you look back in your 0 to 8 years. What happened in your life experience? Because if we can dial into that, dial into those secrets, those secret places that we hide in our heart, that is where the seeds of self-doubt were initially sown. That's the healing work that we get to do. So we're only as sick as our secrets, right? We've heard this before. We're only as sick as our secrets. The number one thing that we do is we get to find out what are the secret seeds that were planted in me and how do I absolutely uproot them? But the number one thing is that we got to do is we got to find the secrets. We have to identify what the secrets are. We have to get clear on those secrets. That's the work that I get to do with my clients every single day, is understanding what are these secrets? What are the stories that we have been told that have then shaped our reality? Because our beliefs create the container in which we live. True story. True. That's number one. Number two, self-criticism versus self-accountability. What do you say when you talk to yourself? Are you like, dang, girl, I can't believe you did that again. You are so dumb. Like, why do you keep on? You're never going to get there. Is that what you're saying when you're talking to yourself? One of the things that I encourage clients to do is to stop as you are talking to yourself and ask yourself, would you say the same things to a 5-year-old girl? Is that what you would say to her? Because if that's not what you would say to her, why are you saying it to yourself? Because your self-chatter, everything in your body, every molecule, every cell in your body is listening to the things that you say to yourself. On my desk, I keep this picture. This is a picture. There she is. This is a picture of little Heidi. I keep her here, and perhaps you've even seen me and you've heard me talk about her, because healing that inner child is so important. So being able to be clear on, would I say that to her? As I look at her and I see how bright she is, I see how hopeful she is. What would I say to her when I feel discouraged? When I feel less than? I can just stop and I can look at her and I can say to her, okay, I see you. I perhaps know what you need. So the self-criticism is not the game that we want to play. Now, I'm not letting you off the hook, however. It doesn't mean that we can be willy-nilly and anything goes and that there is no accountability. If you are in the transformation tribe, and if you are not, oh my gosh, absolutely want you to come into the tribe. If you're in the tribe, this month we're doing our March mission. This is like mission possible, not mission impossible. We're looking at what's possible and we're creating accountability for ourselves with the one thing that we are going to declare for our lives this month. Accountability, self-accountability. So for me, I'm closing up my rings. I'm closing up my rings on my Apple Watch. So every day I'm like, you see my rings? I'm like all into closing my rings. I'm committed to closing my rings. Now, in the space of self-accountability, what I get to do, who I get to be, is someone that holds my feet to the fire of closing those rings. Now, if life happens and I don't close them, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to criticize myself. I'm going to recognize where did I break down? What happened? What happened here? And how can I be better the next day? And it helps when we can do it together. We are better together. One of my mentors and coaches, he says, you're not overwhelmed, you're overcommitted. Ooh, girl, perhaps you're just overcommitted. What does it look like with you when you are being careful of what you're saying yes to? Because self-doubt comes in when you have said yes to too many things and you're not able to get it all done. Therefore, you begin to talk badly about yourself and criticize yourself. And it's going back into those old secrets, those old experiences that's reinforcing these false truths. This is what's happening when we get overcommitted. So be impeccable with your word. Choose your yeses carefully so that you're not lying to yourself. This is the self-betrayal thing that happens. This is how we betray ourselves, is because we're not really dialing in to our truth of saying yes to the thing that we need to say yes to. We get overly committed, we're stretched, and then boom, there we are. There we are. So being really clear about how you're talking to yourself, being really clear about what you're saying yes to, so that you're not ending up in a space where you're feeling overwhelmed because in all actuality, you are over committed. And get some support. Come on, join us. Join us in the Transformation Tribe. You can just simply Google it in Facebook. I would love to have you there. Absolutely love to have you there. That's number 2. Number 3. These are the 3 and 4 are juicy. I love these. They're so paramount to the work that I get to do with badasses just like you. Number 3, and I'm saying write it out. I'm saying write it out because I don't want you to just say, oh, I have this in my head. No, ma'am. We're going to write this out. Personal standards. So the number 1 thing that you've got to do is you have to ask yourself, who do I want to be? Who do you want to be? In your body? Well, vibrant, without pain? Who do you want to be in your relationship? Honest, passionate, connected? Who do you want to be at work? Full of integrity, persevering? Who do you want to be as a mom, as a sister, as a lover? Who do you want to be? When you know first who you want to be, then you can know the things that you put in place to keep yourself from betraying yourself. So personal standards are all about the things that you need to do or not do in order to not betray yourself. How do you step into that space where you are not betraying yourself? These are the things, these are the listed out things that you simply are not going to do. Let me give you an example. For me, one of my personal standards is I'm not going to curse you out. Just not going to do it. Now, has it ever happened? Yes. There have been times, very few, but times where I have betrayed myself. And I'm going to tell you, it didn't work out well for me because it's not who I am. I'm not saying that this has to be your personal standard because that's what makes it personal. You get to determine what your personal standard is. For me, that's just simply something that I'm not going to do. It doesn't represent me in my divine ideal. You know, in our community, we talk about living that divine ideal. What is the highest and best expression of yourself? The highest and best expression of myself is not me cursing you out. That's just mine. And I know this, so I get to hold myself. Everybody wants to talk about boundaries, and we'll get to those. But before we can get to boundaries, we get to start with personal standards. So what are the things that I am going to do and or not going to do in order to live the highest and best expression of myself? First, obviously, we must know what the highest and best expression of ourselves, what that looks like, who that is. So this one is kind of a 2-part. Number 1, we get to determine who we want to be. And then number 2, we get to know how do we need to conduct ourselves in order to be that. This is about building your self-confidence. This is about not betraying yourself. This is one of the important action items that we get to do in the space, in the road, in the journey to self-confidence. The other piece that I want to say as it relates to the personal standards is don't just write this down, because again, accountability is so huge. Share it with someone. Absolutely share it with someone, because as we're installing this into the operating system of our lives, we get to absolutely be in a space where others also know. They know who we are striving to be, especially those that are closest to us. And it's a little scary, right? Because once you share it, then they get to hold you to that as well. Personal standards, hugely important, hugely important. Then I told you I was coming to this, right? Then there are the boundaries. So if personal standards are the things that we do to keep us from betraying ourselves, boundaries are those limits that we set up to keep others from betraying us. Say that again. Personal standards are the things that we install into our lives to keep us from betraying ourselves. And boundaries are the limits that we place so that other people won't betray us. This is the word, y'all. This is it. This is the work. This is what we get to do right here, right now. How do you do it? You say, well, once we've done the boundary part, once we've done the personal standards part, we start there. We have that as the foundation. We know who we're going to be, and then we know how we're going to conduct ourselves. We know that. Once we do that, then we can come in and say, okay, in order for me to be that person, what do I need from you? Perhaps I need you not to curse me out either, because we're teaching people how to treat us. Perhaps I need you to be honest with me, because I'm also going to be honest with myself. Perhaps I need you to speak kindly and highly to me, even if it is in constructive criticism. What are those things? Set the limit. Be clear on what your limit is that you are giving to other people. Write it out and share it. Listen, there is no value in writing this out and sticking it in a book somewhere, keeping it in your journal. And those that are closest to you don't even know what the boundary are. And then you're like, well, I did my boundaries. Girl, you didn't share them, then you didn't do them. This is work. This is the work of personal development, and be super clear. I know that you are successful, but your professional development cannot and will not outpace your personal development. So if you want to know what's keeping you back, check these things out. Check them out. So as we are writing these out, then again, just like with the personal standards, you get to share them. And you get to share them very widely around your friend group, with your business partners, with your children, with your parents. Listen, I will not forget the time that I created a boundary with someone in my family, very close family. Like, you know what? I know that this is how we've been. Okay, and this is an important distinction that I want to share with you. It was really important because there had been a relationship that was difficult, and it was difficult because I didn't feel respected. So how then can I change that? What do I need to do? What does that look like, right? I got to recognize, well, what was it? What was happening that was keeping me from feeling respected? When you speak to me this way, this is how I feel. That doesn't work for me anymore. I'm a grown ass woman. I get to be clear on what I need and what I will accept. And I installed the boundary, and I will tell you, since I installed it and since I spoke it and shared it and really stood grounded in my truth, in the value of who I am, that relationship has soared. After decades of so many issues, that relationship has absolutely soared because I was clear on my value, on who I wanted to be and what I needed. And I was able and willing and vulnerable enough to share it. The last part of this boundary piece that I want to share with you is pay close attention to how people respond to the boundary that you share with them. If you have people in your life that are constantly infringing on your boundaries with like just running through it, running past the barrier, past the limit consistently, pay attention to that. And I know I have been someone that hasn't always done that. I'm like, oh, well, they were just upset, or oh, perhaps, they were drunk, or whatever the excuse that I give to them. No, 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 no. Yes, there is some wiggle room, and then you bring them back to that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. And even now, as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about relationships or past relationships that are no more, and I realize that person consistently pushed the boundary. They pushed the boundary. So when you are clear on what the boundary is, wow, it's so powerful. It's so powerful because it changes relationships. But here is a warning. Put your big girl panties on, because as you set the boundary and establish it and become firm in it, there are relationships that you have right now, perhaps that you will not have moving forward. Because not everybody wants to play in that sandbox. Not everybody wants to respect you at your divine ideal. They don't want to see you in that space. And so, it's not about, don't want you to feel any kind of way about this, but just be clear. It's a power move when you set the boundary, and you are enough to set the boundary. You are worthy, as is right now in this moment. So pay attention to that, and then you can know what relationships get to stay in that circle of intimates and which ones need to be moved out just a bit. All right. So I want to share this because for many of us, we are unclear of what our tripwires are, the things that keep tripping us up. So you can type action in the comment box, in the comments, type it there, and I will send you a very special tool that will help you to see what your personal tripwire is. Love it. So exciting. Just type action, whether you're watching live or watching in the replay, type action in and we will send that tool over to you. All right. So here are our action items for today. Because I told you this was like we were going to get in here and we're going to do the work. Number one thing is to understand that betrayal starts with small secrets, not with big lies. The number one thing that you get to do is to uncover what your small secrets are from 0 to 8. Those things that were installed in you, those seeds that were planted in you that have created false lives that have grown into places that don't serve you. That's number one. Number two, you get to identify the difference in yourself, in your voice between self-criticism and self-accountability. You need to be accountable. You need to be able to hold yourself to the feet to the fire. Fantastic. Don't be in a space of overwhelm. Look at how you have overcommitted yourself. Be careful what you say yes to. Number three, write out your personal standards. Write out those personal standards. Know who it is that you want to be. What is your divine ideal, the highest and best expression of yourself? Write the things out that you need to do that will keep you from betraying yourself. And then the cousin to that one is then writing out your personal boundaries, being super clear about what others need to do or not do in order to not betray you. These are the things that we get to do to stop self-betrayal, to really conquer those issues of self-doubt and walk in spaces of self-confidence. These are four tricks that are so super, super powerful. And when you put action in the comments, I will send you this tool. As an emotional intelligence strategist, I am here to let you know that when we become smarter about feelings, then we can dial into the tripwires that trigger us consistently over and over and over. You are smart, you are successful, you are someone that in many ways it looks like you have it all. And yet there is this internal dialogue going on inside you of self-doubt. And we together can address that. Certainly just type action in, and I will be most glad to send you the tool that I have to assist you. Y'all, I'm Heidi Day. I am your soul healer, your trauma conqueror, and life makeover strategist for badass women who want to smile and mean it. I'm here every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am on YouTube and Facebook. Hello, my YouTube people. So glad to be here with you. Don't forget, sprinkle this onto your timeline. Sprinkle it. Get some good karma going for yourself. Together, we can step into a space where we